Wally D. Wally D.
Hey, everybody. Yay. Good morning, Soapstone. I'm going to practice really hard to talk quieter. Cal was telling me I'm always red and I'm so loud. And if anybody in here is technical and knows how to fix that, tell me. I don't know how to fix it, so I'm going to try. As you notice, Cal's not here today. And the reason Cal's not here today is because Cal is in England and we changed time, but England didn't. So Cal is a teacher. And all this time, you may or may not know that Cal literally takes his headset off. I'm sorry, that's not what I meant. He signs off to his students. He says goodbye. And sometimes he told me he even has to say, yeah, bye. And then he throws this on and he hears the voice introducing him and he's out here. So that's how close Cal has to do things. And so that's why he's not here today. So England changes time, I believe, in 2 weeks. So hopefully in 3 weeks, he'll be back. So we'll see how that goes. Meantime, I'm going to have some guest co-hosts. Some other producers will be up here. But today we have a special co-host because we also have a very special guest in it. And you'll see how it all ties together. Believe it or not, today my co-host is the unemployed alcoholic. So Aaron, please come on out.
Unemployed.
Hey.
Yay. Welcome, Aaron. This is a switch. Usually Aaron's the host and I'm the producer, so this is kind of fun.
Right, this is exciting. Like I just can kind of kick back and let you run with it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, not today. Not today.
Not today.
Because
Not today.
We've got Mr.KillerB coming out, and Mr.KillerB has a studio, and you may or may not know him. He's going to tell us all about it. But the good news is he's going to be working directly with the Soapstone, explain all of that to all of us today. It's a pretty exciting adventure that's going to take place soon, right, Aaron? So we're pretty excited about it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Good dude.
Okay.
He's doing some great things.
He is.
With him.
Don't try to get out of it, Aaron. You're stuck with us for a while.
Having a
You're
stroke.
stuck.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, don't give us that.
Are my hands
New phone. Who dis? We're not buying it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, why don't we welcome him out now because we got a lot to talk about. So, Mr.KillerB, can you head on out to the stage?
Come on out.
Yes.
Throw some confetti.
What's up,
Killer B?
How are you guys
Hey,
doing?
hi.
Awesome.
How are you, my friend? Good to see
Good.
you.
I'm like running into everything. All right. Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Looking
Yeah,
sharp. Looking sharp with that shirt.
Thanks, man. Hey, you know what? I
Yeah.
appreciate that, Aaron, because I was with some guys and they said, you look like you're wearing your grandma's drapes. So I was like,
Ooh.
It's good to have friends, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's right.
it's always nice. Always nice to have friends in here. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
So, how are you today? How do you like the new Soapstone? Have you been here since it's been redone?
I love it. Yes, I love the new system, and I love the new design and how you guys really, and I know Nspire, right? Nspire is one of the designers of the studio.
Yeah, they're our building partners.
I can really see how you guys have really put a lot of thought process into bringing the audience closer to the stage too, because that means so much. I mean, that's the great thing about these shows. You guys know it. It's not just us up here. It's you guys, man. You guys make these events what they are. So thank you guys. I love it. Love the studio.
Yeah.
And I would love a cup of coffee at some point.
A cup of coffee. We can probably hook that up. Anybody? Ace is on the move. Ace
Ace is going to handle that for you?
Yeah, Dawn,
I'll let you
lead
know.
barista, she's taking a couple days off of virtual reality. So,
Oh, my. Oh, Ace.
I'll take cold. Why not?
All right,
There you
cool. All right.
So,
Thank you, Ace. That was so kind of you.
It's hilarious because I was telling Lolly early. I was like, just to let you know, I got my face tracking on my mouth. So if I go take a drink, it looks like I'm blowing kisses. So
It does. Yeah, I'm over here blushing. Like,
We take kisses. We're good with that.
that's awesome. Okay,
So-
hope I don't knock that over.
So about, I think it was last summer when I met you and you had showed me around your studio and stuff. And he explained to me what he was doing. And at that time he was doing, and you still are, I know you were doing interviews, but you also had, live feed and YouTube access and all that. And he invited me to go to his studio to, do a talk about my domestic violence situation. I know a lot of people in here know about my background. So, I did. I did the interview with Killer B, and it was very cathartic for me. I really got a lot out. And I told you at that time I was really thinking about doing this talk show, and I hadn't started it yet. My Let's Talk About It. And that really helped me get motivated. And, I listened to that interview a couple times, learned, shouldn't have said that. Wish I wouldn't have talked so much about that. Learned quite a few things with your interview. But I sort of took a lot of cues from you. I learned a lot about being a talk show host because you're very good at it. You've got quite a background.
Yeah.
And so I was hoping you'd share some of that with everybody, your background before getting here.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, your interview was great too. And if you guys haven't seen it, just Google, go to not YouTube, but go to your podcast platform. Just look up Killer B Studios, and you'll find a podcast in there, and you'll find Lolly D's replaner. You can check it out. But
or Dolly Lee. Was it Dolly Lee, Killer B?
Yeah, Dolly Lee. That's right.
Yeah. He called me Dolly Lee. That's all right.
Our first episode ever was with Aaron, and it was funny because everything, we had bugs that day. Nothing was working right, and I didn't even get a chance to ask him how to pronounce his name, so I didn't even introduce him correctly. I'm terrible with names. I own that. That is my superpower. Half the time I forget if my real name's Brian.
Not important for a talk show host, though. not important at all.
Not important at all. As long as you act like you know what you're talking about, it's a win. So
that's right. That's
fucking love it. No, my background, I work in the radio industry. We've been in the radio industry for a while. But to be interesting thing here is I was never a host in radio. I did a lot of Facebook Lives and stuff. I was all over digital content marketing and digital production for all the radio stations. So when we came in here, I never really expected to become a host of a show in the metaverse. But you just kind of see how things fall into place and you just roll with it. And your story was powerful, and that's what Killer B Studios is all about, is connecting people around the world with people that maybe you couldn't not be able to get up next to. We just had Mark Miller in there last week. Amazing.
Tell him who Mark Miller is.
And Mark Miller,
do you know who Mark Miller is?
VP. Yeah. Do you guys? How many people here like Chick-fil-A? Did anybody here eat Chick-fil-A?
Who doesn't like Chick-fil-A?
Okay. All right. So he's the vice president of Chick-fil-A, and he's also an amazing leader, author. I mean, just dropped a new book. So he's our guest. But we work in the CCM industry, and so we have music artists that come in and they're experimenting with the metaverse. So they come perform some songs live, but they share their stories. But Lolly D, just like you came, this is what I was just talking to somebody earlier out here in the lawn, that they just said, I'm not anybody important, but that's the thing, is we all are important. We all have amazing stories. So don't ever downplay who you are. You have a unique story that each one of you are living out still today, and we can benefit from each other's stories. Unemployed's got a story. You know his story. So if you think,
can you hear me?
I don't know if I could ever do something like this. Look, I didn't think I was going to be a host of anything, but I love it. I love connecting with people. So
yeah.
Yes.
Well, and it's funny because that's one of the cornerstones that the Soapstone is built on. Is encouraging people towards the spotlight. Each and every person in here, like you said, has a story to tell. And that's it. It's on, if you go to the corporate headquarters, the Soapstone HQ, there's a to-do list in there. And the top item on the list, or actually, I guess it's the second item on the list, is to encourage people to the spotlight, to give you all your opportunity to shine, just like Killer B's doing. Incidentally, the first thing on that list is to empower leaders, which Lolly is just a superb example of this. Man, this lady, when she comes in here and she has been empowered to lead the room, she does it like no one else. Ace the Base being empowered to lead as our operations manager. Coloma, being empowered as a leader of the room and addressing things. Kimberly Ann leading our youth, just over and over. Super the Fat
awesome.
Bum, which is a name that I don't say very often. Empowered to edit these videos and produce content. It's awesome. Lizard playing Ratchet TV, a new trainee up there. I mean,
hey, Ratchet,
awesome.
Welcome to Soapstone.
Terminator. Oh my gosh, Purple Tim's. This whole crew in here, this is about you guys being empowered and finding your spot. Heroic. Did you ever know you're my hero?
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, can I brag you up for a minute, Killer?
Yeah, sure. Why not? No, I'm so humble, right?
Said no.
No, I'll just go like this, so I can't hear. So I'll just
right. So I met Mr.KillerB a while back, and we started talking about some stuff, and I appeared on his show, and there was just a connection there. And one of the things that I think has led to the success of the Soapstone and my success in here is I've developed this knack to connect with wildly talented people. Like the people that are involved in this are incredible. You know, I pointed a couple people out here, but Nspire Create Labs, you know, these are the most talented people in the world at what they do. And I'm able to work with them. Well, Mr.KillerB and I, like, we met up and we started talking about doing some stuff together. And he sent, actually, it was led by your wife, I think.
Yep.
But she sent out a package to follow up from our conversation, and it was some Killer Bee honey. It was some Killer Bee tea. And
I got that too. So nice. That's a nice gift. Yeah, I loved it.
Some cups that were custom for Killer Bee.
Yeah.
You know, just really, really thoughtful and nice stuff. And at that point, I thought, man, these people have it figured out. These people are the best in the world at connecting and communicating. And now, it's not our legal agreement is signed. I don't think it's too early to talk about it.
No, I don't think it's too early.
Mr.KillerB is joining our team as a marketing consultant and in charge of executing social media communications.
That's so awesome. We're so excited about it.
Thank you. So once again, not to build you up too much or put too much pressure, but I just told everybody you're the best in the world, so do a good job.
That's awesome. No, we're super excited. We're super excited to be a part of Soapstone. Like, I've always first time when I met you, it's really been a lot for me to see what you're doing and encouraging people. You know, our focus, even as digital marketing, like, what our focus is connection. You know, this is digital. We turn it to a digital marketing, you know, away from KillerB Studios. Even KillerB Studios, you'll see, is building the same thing. Our three things, we have 3 words there: connect, share, restore. That's what we do. We want to connect
you
with
ran
people.
through that really quick, but say that again.
Connect, share, and restore.
It's powerful stuff.
Because we want to connect with people. We want to share, like, we want to be real. We want to share our real life stories, what's going on. And we want to help restore people, because there's a lot of people that's going through. I've even been there in low times thinking, like, nobody really cares for me to be around. Nobody wants to hear what I have to say. Nobody wants me to help. Like, I feel like useless. Like, so that's what our focus is connect, share, and restore. Because
can I go back? And that is a great message. And controllers are crazy.
That was pretty.
I know they're crazy today. It's because I go like this all the time. So, you know, my controllers are like, we're tired. I wanted to bring up Lakes because I've been using him as a great example. I've talked to a bunch of people in here. If you don't know Lakes or Leos, how do we say his name? Is it Lakes? Leos?
Lakes.
He's like an original guy in here that did all the Vidu stuff. I mean, he's like a god in here. He really is. Like, people will say you cannot go anywhere that you don't see a bit of Lakes in it, right? So he's this amazing guy. So Sturm asked his classic question when he was up on the stage of, what's your biggest challenge in the metaverse? And you know what his answer was? It was shocking to me. His answer was, when people don't like him. He said that he's actually been insulted in here and had to, like, put his headset away because somebody didn't like something. He knows it's silly. We all know it's silly, but you are so right. We all feel that way. If he can feel that way, of course, it makes sense that we all feel that way. So don't feel that way. Just feel like there's lots of people that love you in here. Trust me, there are lots of people in here that love you. Just because that one guy says that thing that sends you sideways, just put it away. I've called Aaron crying, you know. Aaron's like, block them and move on.
Yes.
It's, you know, so right. We've all been there. We've all been there.
That's right.
So
true.
Right. Yeah.
That's great.
So Yeah, it's so true. So that's wonderful. So that's what your focus is. How did you? What would you say your growth has been from when you first started Killer B to now? What have you seen that you're like, yeah, we need to tweak this, we need to change that?
Well, we do take an approach, with everything that we do in business and at the studio, in the metaverse, whatever it is, because we're in digital. So as you guys know, things change so quickly. So, and we have to be, we're in a field that we have to be able to experiment, but then we also have to set guidelines and say, okay, we need to come back and evaluate. So as I share, like, what probably my biggest thing that I've learned is the things that we take is we take a 4-step process called the 4 helpful list. And that's where we look at, after we do an event, we'll meet together as a team and say, okay, let's talk about what worked and can we amplify it? And then we'll go to step 2 is, okay, what didn't work? If we're trying new things, what didn't work? How can we fix it to try to make it better? And we'll go through that process for a while until we finally, if it keeps falling on that what didn't work list, we'll make a decision and say, okay, we need to exit. We need to get rid of that. Number 3 is, what are people saying? I mean, when we first opened the studio, we had an outdoor stage for outdoor performances. We had a stage inside, and we thought that was really cool. We had music on the lawn, but what would happen is we had people that would come to the studio, and even though it was a big opening, right there, well, okay, their confetti doesn't fall from there, but there's a big door that said, that you could walk into the studio. There was a stage here, and someone came in and said, how do I get into the studio? And they kept trying to walk through the wall on the stage. Like, there's a big B, they're trying to walk through that on the stage. And I'm like, okay, that's not working. Like, that guy asked, he couldn't figure out how to get in. So we removed that whole stage and went to one stage. So we pay attention to that. And then last, what's confusing and how can we deliver clarity? So we do that across everything.
So you listen to the community, right? You listen to the community. It's like, what needs to be changed in here? I know Aaron does that all the time, and Nspire, and he work to adapt things for the community. So that's really crucial, adapting to the changes in the community. Killer, did you go to sleep? Oh, you're reading. See, your goggles. Your goggles give you away. They give you.
I'm looking for. I forgot I had that on.
Do you have the host say, "You still with us? Did you fall asleep?"
I was looking for a quote from actually a quote that we're having put in the new studio. Oh my gosh!
Don't roll your eyes at me, Mr.KillerB. I'm gonna see it.
I'm gonna try to keep my eyes really big right now.
This segment brought to you by the new Meta Quest Pro, and it's
oh my gosh, that's hilarious! It's hilarious. I'll actually, let me see if I can find the text. I sent it. If you guys don't know, Jason Gray was one of our guests recently, and I sent a text to him because
Jason Gray.
Jason Gray.
Yeah.
If you don't
tell
know,
us who he is.
Look him up on Spotify. So Jason Gray is a CCM artist, amazing guy, amazing musician, amazing person all together. Look him up. He actually debuted a brand new song at Killer B Studios after his interview.
Nice.
And his song, get this is a great song to listen to, you guys. And I was like, man, this is right on for Killer B Studios. It was called Be Kind. So before it even got released to radio, he did it live at the studio. Go ahead. What did you say?
Tell you what, like that's just so impressive to me. You've had this knack for pulling in superstars and
no kidding,
and allowing them to and bringing them in to connect with small groups of people. Like, I mean, we're limited by capacity in here, and he's got incredible musical artists coming in. Mark Miller, like that guy can come and fill up a 10,000 person stadium if he's speaking. And I mean, like he's a highly sought after, and you just went after. Actually, that's like I was trying to get the secret sauce, not the Chick-fil-A sauce, although that's very good. But I was trying to get the secret sauce from him, and I asked him, "Hey, so what inspired you to come into the metaverse? Why are you here?" And
that's right.
He said it was he's a lifelong learner. And when he sees what's happening in here, he's curious and he wants to find out about it. So I guess that's just a shout out to everybody in here. If you're thinking about doing something, if you're thinking about connecting with a potential celebrity and a highly sought after person, know that what we're doing in here right now to a lifelong learner is incredibly attractive. What we're doing in here right now is intriguing, and there's incredible value. So, yeah, kudos to you on communicating that to him.
And I want to encourage you guys too. Like, I'll be straight up. Like, I was actually at an event that I was one of the keynotes at, and when I got done speaking, somebody in radio said, "Brian, you need to reach out to some of these other leaders and have them on your YouTube channel." And I was like, well, we weren't doing a lot on YouTube, but I was like, that's when I was like, well, the worst thing Mark could say is no. That's when and my wife actually encouraged me. She's the one that told me, she's like, what's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to say no. I was like, you're right. So I reached out and he said yes. And I was like, whoa. And this has happened with multiple people, you know, with me being in the radio industry. I want to encourage you guys, just when you meet people like that, they are normal people just like us. They go through the same struggles, and they actually love it when people recognize that and treat them as a normal person. Like, that goes a long way. You don't have to.
Well, look how fun it is for them to be in here. They get to experience what it's like to be a nobody, right? So, like, you know, I've talked to people. I know there's famous people in here. I'm pretty sure Drew Lynch was in here yesterday. There's a bunch of us pretty sure he was in here yesterday.
He didn't contact me, but he very well could have been in here.
Well, the voice was just so Drew Lynch. But anyway, it may not have been. But look at what the opportunities are. They can come in and then go, what's it feel like to just hang out in a nightclub and just stand in a circle and talk with people? They can't do that in real life, but they can do it here. And it's awesome.
Yeah, and they love it. They love it. And that's the thing. Like, I've already started reaching out. Mark's connecting us to more people to bring in. And I'm like, I just started asking, like, hey, do you know this person? Can you connect us with them? Like, yeah, we can connect you. It's just putting yourself out there and being all right. We had a guest. You guys actually had Rick Party in here one day.
We did, yeah.
Michelle.
Yeah, we had
Michelle
Rick Party.
Came and was a guest. And I talked to her we talked about rejection. And during that whole interview, one of the things that we talked about was learning how we receive the word no. Sometimes we can take that very personal as like rejection. And when we talked about it, we're like, we have to refocus what the word no means. You know, it means not here, not right now, but we just need to, like Michelle said a great thing. She said, it's all about not taking it as rejection, but taking it as redirection. And I'm like, or protection, redirection or protection. It might not be the right time right now. You're not ready for that. So I was like, that's some really good advice, but that's the thing. This advice comes from people just like you, all here in Horizons. So don't ever downplay what you think might be possible with what you're doing. You never know. Just put yourself out there, but don't take it personally if you hear no. I mean, I've heard no so many times, you know. It's just,
well, I think, you know, I
had to rephrase that. Go ahead.
Think about, like, a lot of people have never had to do something. I mean, they've always worked for a company, or, you know, they haven't been self-employed, or they haven't been a project manager, where you see the ebbs and flows of things. So that's why we have so many people in a panic about Meta, right? They're like, oh my God, you know, this is the end. This is the end. Well, it's not. Yes. It's just that we're into watching it develop. And anybody who's ever accomplished anything huge knows that you don't just start. I mean, there are some people that they meteorize. Most people, though, fail and start. And that's what you're watching. You're watching Meta, trim the fat, you know, work on things. When I didn't mean the employees were fat. I just mean trimming up things, cutting programs and things. I'm not disparaging the horrible loss of employees. That's horrible, but it's part of having to save the final product. And in the end, you know, normally we see a game or a product after it's all been done, and they may have been working on it for 10 years. You have no idea. Right. So that does matter. Well, I mean, take the nose and move on.
Yep. It's part of business. I mean, on your way, like, everybody's looking for the path to success, but the path to success is going to have a lot of failures. That's the part that we don't like to go through, but it's necessary to prepare us for when we get to that place. And we have to be willing to go through that, especially in something new. I mean, we've been here, we've had, you know, we all deal with Horizon problems and bugs, but that's part of the process. But the great thing is we get to be a part of it right now. So I think that's a great advice there to point out about that.
And
there's a lot of,
go ahead.
There's a really well-known phrase or a statement, I guess, that every overnight sensation is 15 years in the making. that,
So true.
you know, you see somebody's meteoric rise, but there's 15 years that have happened to position them for that. I mean, if I go back 15 years, you know, it was deeply involved in alcoholism, involved in several very unhealthy work environments, and like kind of hopping around and building a resume that makes me look like a mutt, you know. And then what happens? It gets to a point where I've got to leave my job to address alcoholism, and then boom. So this is a low. And then a year goes by where I can't find another opportunity, and it gets lower. And then from that, I discover comedy and this mission to help people laugh, and it starts going up. And then I build two different businesses where we're producing comedy shows, and things are going good, and I'm being known as the unemployed alcoholic, and things are going up. And then coronavirus comes along, and then it all goes away.
Yes.
But then that brings me into the metaverse, where I get to meet all of you, where we get to start the Soapstone Comedy Club. But even through this, you know, we started working with a group called Gutties, and that didn't work out. So then it's like, whew, you know, tragedy strikes. That's not going to work out. What do we do? And we survived that. And then there's been several other people that we've worked with and tried to go, and it's exploded, you know, and then it goes down, and it's just this back and forth and back and forth. But because of all that, like, we're here now. Like, there's some incredible things happening, and we've got a team that's seasoned and been through it, you know, been brought to tears, you know, but now are positioned and ready to take it on. So, and I'll tell you what, I mean, even this week I had a boom, like a big behind the scenes, like, ouch, that hurts. But we're still going up. We're still making it. You know, it's all good. So
yes,
yeah, Killer,
so true.
That totally resonates with me as far as this up and down and up and down. Like, embrace those downs, because they're setting the foundation for the next big up.
If you guys
just
think about what Aaron just shared, that's his story right now, and it's being written out. Now, if we would go to a movie theater, and like those challenges, those drops, those are like the times in a movie that you're like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? Like, and you're the star in that movie, in your own movie that you're living out right now, your story, you're the star. But those, are you
sure? Because I was pretty sure Brad Pitt was going to play that role.
It was Brad Pitt. That's what I visioned. That's what I saw.
Yes. Right. Well, his story is not. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I'll have to send you some interesting photos. I don't know if you ever saw this is me rabbit trailing. If you saw the GQ thing that he did a whole bunch of weird pictures years ago. He got in a really weird. One of them, like, he's like on his head, like hanging upside down.
I don't know that we're there yet.
What was funny was we were on vacation, and my friends were showing us these, and we were coming back, and my wife and me, I was like, let's start recreating all these photos everywhere and send them to them when they were traveling home. So we stopped at a McDonald's, and I'm telling you, the whole building had traffic wrapped around it, and I was holding her upside down with her head all crooked on the ground to get this picture, and everybody's watching us. So it's a pretty funny picture. Nice, but when you hear his story, when you hear this story, you guys are going through that too. Like, those downs they might not feel good at that moment, but if we went to go watch a movie that was just always like everything was winning, there was never downfalls and challenges. Yeah, it would be boring. You wouldn't want to go see it.
You know, though, the important time for people to remember what you're saying right now is not right now when we're all sitting here having a good time. It's when that hits you. It will happen. You're going to have that day when you're at home and you're like, my life sucks. You know, I don't even want to get up or do anything. Oh, lizard. And when that happens, try to recall this conversation, that this is just that little bloop, and go, pick myself up. You know, you've heard it, dust myself off and start all over again. So true. I'm so old. I've started over 100 times already. I mean, seriously, I have. Star Fox
was at one of our recent shows, and we talked about this. This was just me, so it was like we didn't have a guest. I was the guest. I was like, okay, hopefully everybody showed up and they're happy with this. But what we talked about was moments where you're going like, why am I here? I was like, I had to learn that there's a different way to handle those moments. You can handle those moments and go, why am I here? Why do I have to go through this with an exclamation point? Or you can say, wait a minute, why am I here? Like, there's a reason that you went through all that to be where you are today. But our mindsets, the way we approach that and ask that question, can change how we handle ours, where we're at that moment. So look around. Like, there's a reason why you are going through what you're going through. People ask me, I was on a podcast for the business, and they're like, tell us how your business took off so fast. I'm like, whoa. My business didn't take off that fast. The business started in 2010. Like, you're coming out and asking me this in 2020. It's been way longer. And there's been a lot of ups and downs. And downs. But that
one of the things
One of
the things I noticed, and I'm wondering if you guys, I'm sure you both have, but I'm wondering if everybody else has. There are people in here, and I fear it, to be honest. We get attached to a world or a group of friends or whatever the circumstances. Maybe we're a moderator in this club or whatever we've decided to do, because there's a whole lot of people in here that are, get attached themselves to something, a community of some sort. Well, one day you have a falling out and with somebody, and then it spreads like wildfire, and you find yourself ostracized from that little group that you're in. And I have seen people literally fall into a hole, like, oh God, I have nothing now in the metaverse. I don't want to go back. Just remember that metaverse is pretty big, and there's a lot of things in here. And I tell everybody, connect as many places as you can. Don't settle on a little tight little group. Connect. If if you're a person who likes to be part of stuff, be parts of lots of stuff. It doesn't mean you have to commit all your time and be a moderator in 32 clubs. Like me, I spent an hour in this one on this day and 2 hours over there, and I find my friends that are here, and I try to make sure I have connections all over. So if, this person's gone for a month and on vacation, and I'm now not going to be in despair because my buddy's gone, which, by the way, Cal leaving is very sad for me. I just want everybody to know that. Even 2 weeks is going to be too much for me with Cal. But I'm lucky enough that I'm friends with Maddie, and Avora and I can hang out, and Coloma. And, I'm not stuck here by myself. So you get my point. You get my point. Okay, Lizard. All right.
Speaking of connecting and becoming parts of groups and that, we got to give a shout out to Termite Mike up in the
Mike.
Supporters booth. If you heard that little ding, what that was is he just joined the supporters wall. So Termite, thank you very much.
Welcome. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, there's somebody. Hey, Cal.
The sprinkler and throwing confetti. That's top notch.
Awesome. Well, there was a quote from Jason that what I was going to mention earlier. I just remember. I kind of remember. So check out the song "Be Kind" because it's in the lyrics. But Jason, in that song, part of that song said, "Be kind to everyone," because when you meet someone, everybody's going through something, and they need to know that they matter. Yeah. And I'm like, man, that's perfect. I was like, we create studio rules. You guys have rules, and I asked Jason, like, can we just put that up as a quote in the new studio? He's like, yes, please do. I was like, because it just wraps everything up into one nice sentence to say, be kind to everyone, because everybody's going through something, and they need to know.
That's in there. I remember seeing that on last Thursday or whenever that was. I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
Be kind. So there's a couple others in there too. Be kind. And
I don't even remember. Oh yeah, be kind, be respectful. Have fun. Most things, just have fun. Connect to people. Like, have fun.
Yeah. Be yourself.
Be yourself. Yeah, be you. Be you.
Hey, are you guys feeling like maybe we can open it up to questions, or do you have anything else you need to? Are we good with that? So, hey, where's Sturm?
Always the best time.
Sturm's always first.
Yeah. Sturm. Maddie threw his hand up pretty quick there too.
Well, and I appreciate that. And Maddie, you could be number 2, but Sturm gets to ask the first question.
Congrats, Maddie. Number 2.
So, I know I normally ask this every time, but I've been told I should maybe ask a different question. What has been your biggest accomplishment in the metaverse?
Whoa. Okay, Sturm. That's right. Changing it up.
Wow, man.
Wow.
I mean, if I was gonna say guest-wise, I'd say our biggest accomplishment was getting Mark Miller in. I never expected that was gonna happen.
That was awesome. It wasn't my interview.
Personal note. Well, I mean, this is the thing. Like, on a personal note, it's the connections of people. Man, I've met amazing people from around the world in here. Yeah. And it's really is like it's like having a family of friends in here, and it's hard. Like even in real life, I don't have as many friends that I get to connect with as frequently as I do here in the metaverse. So I love it. I love the ability that we have here to connect with people.
Hell yeah. Indeed.
All right,
Indeed.
Maddie, come on up. Thanks, Sturm. That was actually a fantastic question. I loved
I'm sorry, Lolly. Mark Miller paid me to say that, so I just like
Mark's like, don't.
I was
you dare say Lolly. I know you're gonna say Lolly.
He was gonna. Anyway,
I thought maybe
there you go, Maddie. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Maddie. What's up?
I'm incredible. I appreciate it. You know, it was funny when you said Mark Miller, because people in my family actually know the president of Chick-fil-A. So when you said Mark Miller, at first I thought you were talking about the guy from Please Don't Eat the Daisies, or the old actor. And I was like,
we don't know that show, Maddie. We're too young.
I said, whoa, that's incredible. Yeah, but Mark Miller is great. Great guest. I mean, great leaders grow. Chestnut checkers. I actually have thousands of books in my house, and that's definitely a notable author to take leadership skills from. So I commend you for having that guest. And before I get serious, we said how sharp he looks today, but we never commented how it looks like today. Lolly D's gonna erase Toontown, doesn't she? Oh my God. And Sturm, thank God. New question. I told him I was going to write him a list of questions to start asking at the show last week, and he. Can
I say something now? Do you realize how great that question is that he asks every week?
That's why I told him. I ran over and I said, "Great
answers.
Question." Yeah.
Gosh,
but I mean,
I didn't get the great question. Like everybody's like, you missed out on a great question.
Ask your normal question now. Come after Maddie's done. When Maddie's done, then you can ask your other question.
No, I'll step aside. Come ask your question, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Maddie. As always, we love having you up here. We love having you up here.
So what has been your biggest challenge in the metaverse, and how have you overcome that?
Ooh, the biggest
is that not a great question?
That is a great. Okay. I'm gonna be straight up with you guys. My biggest challenge in the metaverse is being okay with flowing with the bugs and issues that we have.
Oh yeah.
Because when you pour so much into the events and what you're doing, and then things are just out of your control, and I'm like, that was my biggest challenge. But then what was great was I noticed that the community, we all give grace for that. We all know this is part of it. So that's, for myself personally, that's been the biggest challenge for me, is because I like things to go smoothly. And then you're making all these connections, and all of a sudden things crash, and you're trying to train people that are getting on headsets. You know, we ship the headsets to these guests, and they're all autographing them. And when we ship it, they get on like maybe, if we're lucky, they're on 30 minutes early, but usually it's like sometimes it's 15 minutes by the time they do updates, and we do controller training. So when you throw in the mix all the bugs, it can be pretty interesting.
So you, like in the case of Mark Miller, you sent him the goggles, and then he autographed them and sent them back to you. So what do you do with those? You just collect them, or?
Yeah, so the headsets right now we have going out is actually being autographed by all the guests that we ship that to. So like all the artists from Nashville, American Ninja Warrior that was there, Mark Miller, they get the headset. When they actually get it out, that we actually have like a scan thing. They can scan it on the headset. It shows them all the instructions, but they autograph the headset box, and then they ship it back. So at the end of the year, when you're at the shows, you earn points when you're there, when you ask questions. We have a contest thing. You can earn points, and you get a Whack the Bee with a Whack-a-Bee stick. Whoever's in the top 5 of that, we're going to do a drawing towards the end of this year, and they're going to win that headset that's autographed by everybody. So,
what a great idea! I love it.
Hopefully you don't mind, but I'm gonna just straight up steal that idea.
Go for it. Steal it, man. It's great because that's a great way to get people to, getting people to come in here and experience it. You give them the headset, and I can, hey, we're kind of working together now, so I'll show you like the process that we use for people to scan, because we try to eliminate all the confusion as much as possible so they come in.
It's awesome.
Okay, Maddie, what's up?
Maddie got another question.
No, I never finished. I stepped to the side for
okay, go ahead.
No, your tutorials are amazing. I've watched a ton of them. The one about what if meta church was a reality, because there are meta churches in here. I do attend them. I'm not religious. I'm faithful, but I do attend them to show support. Oh my gosh, what was the how to make a YouTube video? You guys make just like some gnarly stuff. And there was so much from the show that I want to talk about, but I only have so much time. Um, the one thing I want to say is yes, taking the word no. So one of the ways I raised my children was you could say no, 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 no to a kid, but those words become hollow after a while. So one of the steps I took when it came to raising my kids and disciplining them was I would say no. If I had to say it again, then I would say it a bit more firmly, but then I would explain why. Why am I saying the word no? And I'm actually raising 2 gems right now, phenomenal kids, because of these painstaking steps that I took very early on. So I want to credit you for that. That's amazing.
Well, thanks for sharing that too, because I mean that's a gift in itself. You know, I hope you guys took that. If you, especially raising kids, how old are your kids?
They're like 30 years old, but they're in their teens.
Yeah. Well, but that's why
nice. It's way better than the other way around.
Sharing that why is so important. It's so important. My son is 18 now. He's turning 19, so he's part of the studios. He helps out with recordings and stuff and podcast editing. His name's Arcane Noman. It took me a while to even figure out how to pronounce that, but you'll see him in there. He's a great guy, a great kid. Well, I guess man now. He's a great man.
He's on your editor list.
Yeah, he's on our editors. Yes. One of our things that when he was young that me and my wife did was I was raised in a family that there was a lot of pressure against, like, I was called a failure by my own father, which I took really personally. It cut really deep, and that was hard for me going through life. He didn't know that. But I had to learn at the same time that he could only love me as much as he's been loved. So like we all go through these processes and we learn love differently too. So when me and my wife were raising our son, one of the big things that I had a hard time with was if he wasn't doing something right at first, we weren't on the same page about how do we discipline and all that stuff. But then she started teaching me, like, after we tell him no about something and like he feels like rejected, we need to hug him, and then explain to him why. And I tell you what, that was some great wisdom from my wife back then, and she still has so much wisdom, but that has helped my son become who he is today. I can tell him no, and he doesn't take it like a dagger in his heart or anything like that. He processes it, and he'll even ask, well, why? Or he'll share why without us even asking. Yes, very constructive.
Thank you. Thank you so much, for all the insight that you gave today. You fulfilled one of your 4s, and that's clarity and whatnot to any type of confusion. And I definitely commend all of your efforts. I had a different question, but I'll catch up with you one-on-one later because I want to give other people the stage.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for everything, and you guys do a great job here.
Yeah. Thank you, Maddie.
Thank you, Maddie.
I just want to, you can go ahead and head back.
Oh,
but I just want to share with everybody. Maddie is one of these guys that is just a solid presence in any room or any world that he's in. Like he's supportive. He's got this, verbal judo, this ability to jump right into the middle of conflict and disperse it. And it's much. I'm sure you've been training up for that.
Conflict too.
Cause a lot. Yeah.
Well, there's that.
But yeah, if you're in a room with Maddie, just kind of step back and watch how he maneuvers and handles conflict. It's really impressive.
That's
so.
Awesome.
Who's next?
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Anybody got a comment? Come on up, Super.
Yeah, Super.
Hey, Super. What's up?
Hi. How you doing? So,
how are you?
I just had the question in my head. Now it's blanking on me. Okay. So, like, what would you say in your life so far has been your biggest conflict that you had to overcome, whether it be here in the metaverse or in just your everyday life?
Yeah. My biggest conflict, which I kind of touched on a little bit right there, was that moment in my life where that word failure hit me. I had no idea how much that was going to affect me. And even as an adult, I'm 44 now. I'm 44, and I still have to be careful because I've reached out to somebody now to come to be a guest to talk about the narrator voice that we hear in our head. So I'm not going to say a name because he hasn't said yes or anything yet. So, but if he does, it'll be great. but we all have this internal voice that we hear. And my wife and me was just talking about this because she asked me, she's like, when something doesn't go the way you have planned, is your inner voice negative, or is it like it's encouraging, like, you know, it's okay, everything's gonna be better? I was like, my inner voice can be pretty negative at times. I can leave a show and be like, I used to leave some shows and go, nobody had any questions, and I'd be like, why am I doing this? What, like, I messed this up. That's what I would leave the show.
How about the shows where no one showed up? You told me about that. I've had that.
Gosh, yes.
We've all had that.
You know?
Like, oh, I have a show and no one's here.
They show up, you know, and
and
it's like, and you're bringing in guests, and you're like, you know, we want them to see how great this is. And it's like 4 or 5 people show up, and it's like crickets, you know. But for myself, that inner voice from that time in the past, I was always trying to prove that I wasn't a failure. And I had to learn how to get past that and realize, here's what I learned. Everybody says, oh, we love you hosting. You're a great speaker. I don't see myself as a great speaker. I don't, like, my wife knows so many big words. I went to one event and they said, we can't wait for you to speak. We can't wait. They're like, are you going to use big words? And I told them, I was like, if I use big words, you better go get a dictionary and look it up, because it probably isn't real. Like, that's just not me. But what I had to learn was I didn't have to be like those people. I realized, like, I'm really good at connecting with people and just creating a space where people can just be open and be real. And I'm like, you know what? That's good. I'll take that. Like, that's a gift that God's given me, and I'll take that. I don't have to be a great speaker. And that failure thing, I just got past it. And then realizing those times when we don't have a lot of questions, I started realizing that usually those are pretty deep conversations that people are left leaving, thinking, and pondering on. And then they come back next week and say, man, you won't believe how much that affected me and how much that helped me. So I just had to learn being okay without the not knowing everything. It's okay. Like, just let it go and do the best you possibly can and let the rest happen. So hopefully that helped. Is that a good answer for you there, Super?
That's great. Right. Great question. Thank you.
That's interesting.
Thank you.
That's interesting too, because like that mirrors my own like point of like pendulum there. And it's very similar. You know, you talk about that failure. And for me, it was just self-esteem, you know, who I saw in the mirror. And that, you know, there's some mental health struggles there. There's alcoholism. There was, you know, job hopping early in my career. And so much of it came down to the fact that just as I would look in the mirror, I just wouldn't like who I saw. And the fact is, there's a lot to like. 280 pounds of nowadays, but there's a lot.
I hope you're having the girl.
You can't tell,
today, right?
You carry it well.
I look terrific, right? It's these stylish black T-shirts. They're really appealing.
Yeah. Black is slimming.
That's great.
Yeah, black is slimming.
But you know, it comes down to, you know, first of all, like, I mean, for me, and I know you're a man of faith, but for me, you know, it's you know, I can see myself the way that my Lord sees me, which is perfect and perfected.
Exactly.
Like my flaws, my downfalls, they've been forgiven and they're washed away. So I don't have to see all my failures, all my inadequacies. I can look past that and see perfection. And man, I'll tell you what, it's important. It's so important to find a way to look in the mirror and look at yourself and like what you see. It has been for me. And so that's one piece of it. And then the other piece of it is to lean into my gifts. You know, I am an encourager. I'm good at it. I mean, I have had an impact on people that oftentimes I don't even know. But I am a very good encourager because I see somebody, I see something genuine, and I share it with them, and I share it clearly and concisely. And all of that together means that when I look in the mirror at myself, I like what I see. I get up in the morning and I know I'm going to have an impact, and I know I'm going to touch people's lives, and that's all very, very good stuff. So hopefully that helps there too. Super.
Yeah, and you do
great.
An amazing job at that. Like, that's the thing. It's like it's important that we realize, like, you don't, when I was struggling with trying to feel like, well, I'm not a good enough speaker, I shouldn't be up there, like nobody really wants to hear what I have to say, all that stuff. Realizing that it's as simple as being like connecting with people, listening to people. That's something I've been really practicing the last year. I've been really diving into how do I become a better listener? Yeah. Because there's a lot of voices out there, but I was like, but how do we listen? Like, look, people don't really listen as well to what's going on. And when you're sharing that about encouraging, you could very easily say, well, there's nothing I can really do to give back. But man, your encouragement is like throwing gasoline on these little kindles of fire right now. And you're just, I mean, these people blowing up and doing things in the metaverse because of unemployed right here, because of,
I like to say something about that. And I think one of the reasons that people don't encourage more is they don't see their own value. I've had people say, oh, nobody cares what I think. I think he's amazing. I think she's beautiful or smart or whatever. But, she doesn't care what I think. And I've seen that. And I've told people many times, tell them anyway. Tell them even though you think they don't care, because I'm telling you, you're wrong. You're wrong. Yep. I'm not going to call them out right now, but there's somebody in here and they know who they are, feeling super down. Yeah. Aaron gave them 3 sentences of encouragement. And that person came back to me the next day and said, I feel like a new person. I feel great. Did you hear what Aaron said to me? I said, yeah, you know what? Aaron did that to me too. Aaron did that to me when I walked on the stage in Metaverse and took me, he was like, hey, what can I do in here? I don't build, and gave me just amazing words of encouragement. And I was like, well, somebody likes me. And it, wow, what a difference it makes. It makes a difference. So
it makes a huge difference.
So do it. You guys do it.
Definitely. Yeah. You never know what somebody's going through. Like, just like that Jason Gray lyrics. I'll tell you a quick story. And I know if you guys have some more questions, I'm open for it. I got my schedule cleared for this. So I will let you know this. This is something that you never know what somebody's going through when you connect with them in here. For instance, there was a person that came up to me. This was at a show. They had a story, and they told my story is really not that important. I was like, no, like I would love for you to come and share your story. I was like, your story, that's a powerful story, and I think people need to hear that. So this person came, they did their story. There weren't many questions. It was a pretty deep story. They left after that show. Someone came up to me and said, hey, can I talk to you for a second? Never met this person in my life. I was like, sure, yeah. So he was asking about the studio. I showed him around. And he said, okay, I want to be honest with you. I don't know you. You don't know me. He's like, I got on my headset today. He's like, within the last 24 hours, my best friend of 25 years passed away. Unexpectedly. We thought he was just like had a little sickness, but he went into the hospital and ended up having a severe case of cancer. He died within 24 hours. He's like, not only was he my best friend of 25 years, he was also my boss. And now I don't have a job. He's like, I don't have my best friend. I don't have a job. He's like, I didn't want to even go into the world. I'm like, I don't even want to go out there and deal with people. I'm just tired of it. Why am I here? Like, that's why me? Why do I have to go through this? Why did this happen? So he said he picked up the Oculus headset and he put them on. He put the headset on. He said, when I was like, I'm going to go into Horizon and see if maybe there's something I can do in there. He said, when I booted up, right at the very beginning, it said, you were recently nearby KillerB. And he thought, that sounds familiar, but I don't remember running into KillerB. So he said, then he looked at the live events and he said the very first event said that there was a live event happening at KillerB Studios hosted by KillerB. And he thought, I've got to go to this event. So he came in.
What's this?
And he's like, this is just, I got to go. So he said he went and he said, I want you to know when I came in here, I saw you up there talking to your guest, and exactly what you guys were talking about was exactly what I needed to hear at that moment. Yeah. I don't know where his mind was, like what he was thinking about doing, but he said, you have no idea how much I needed that at that moment. So there are real people in here with real problems, and you guys, even each one of you, can be an encouragement to those people too. Like, we never know what everybody's going through. So it's just remember that these are real people. Termite's a real person. Super's a real person. We're all real people with real things.
Come on, Maddie. Before Maddie asks this question, I just want to ask, is there anyone else because we are getting to the end and I don't want to miss anybody. If you are, then come please wait up here at the corner so we don't miss you. Okay, go ahead, Maddie.
Yeah, that's great.
So yeah, you said you cleared your schedule for this, so I hopped right down because I was like, my main question didn't get answered. Pushed everyone else to the side.
That's all great. That's all great, but I got a question.
and it stinks because before I wanted to ask my question, then you said something that I'm like, oh my god, I have to touch on this. Yes, that is a very touching story, and Lolly actually has a great story about it. She said something to me one day. We were in a private meeting. She said, you could have people in your ear saying, you must do this, you must do this, you must do this, and you become so jaded to it until you reach your precipice, and then that voice pops back in your ear and you hear it and it says, go do this now, and you're like, I got to do this. So that is I shout out to Lolly D for that story. I actually use that as an anecdote when I'm talking to people now, and it's awesome that you spoke about that. What the fundamental success that you've had through trials of fire and whatnot, and your build up with the release of augmented reality, and because we are the pioneers of future of connectivity and communication right now, where do you see yourself going in 5 years?
Wow. So that's I can tell you, like, our business has changed a lot since launching in 2010 with the changes of augmented reality. One of the things that with digital, with things that change so quick, one of the things that we have really focused on, and you've heard me talk about it tonight, is with our team. I said, look, social media is going to change. All these different platforms they're going to constantly change. I was like, but let's. You have so many voices telling you need to post this many times, you need to do this, you need to do that. This is the platforms you need to be on. I was like, let's step back for a minute and let's ask ourselves, what are people really looking for?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I was like, and they're looking for relationship.
Connection.
I was like, they're looking for relationship. So when it comes to business, even if it's a business or what you're doing here in Metaverse, we look at relationship because we're like, well, to have a good relationship, if you want as a business someone to convert into a client or a customer, you have to have a relationship, and relationship starts with connection. So you connect to build a relationship, to build a community, which creates trust, which ultimately creates great friends, and also gets them to convert on the things that you're doing. Now, I had a guy that was actually recently at one of the shows, and he asked me during the show, he's like, how did you guys become so successful? And I was like, well, first off, I got to say, I was like, I'm up here and you're saying like I'm so successful, and I'm going, I don't feel like that. I just feel like I'm just an ordinary guy. I mean, I'm not rolling around $1 million and stuff like that. So don't like, I'm not there. Not that I'll, not take that, but I'm not there right now. But what I told him, I was like, when you're doing something here in Horizons, what I would encourage you is this. I was like, our goal for the studio is to share stories that can actually transform people's lives. I was like, if one person shares up and hears a story, that's success for me in the studio.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
a teacher
success.
doesn't go to a classroom to teach 30 people. They only want like 4 light bulbs to go up.
Yes. So like when I think about the future, we're checking out augmented reality. We're actually working with some ministries right now that are like, how can you use augmented reality to train people around the world to go into other countries and help people? We're looking at that as well. So I look at it like it all comes down to connection. Like whatever we're going in the future, if it connects with people and helps transform their lives to make it better, the Soapstone, you guys are making people's lives better through the laughter and through the community you guys are building. And Aaron, you guys' encouragement, this is all transforming lives. So when Aaron's like, hey, would you guys want to work with us? I'm like, absolutely yes, because you guys line up. Our purpose statement at our company is transforming lives by making digital personal. That's what we do. If it doesn't go through that filter, we don't do it. So that's our purpose.
Thank you so much for that answer. Yogi, I know Yogi wants to come up, but before I go, if we glance over to the side, you'll see a wild trainer cow in his natural habitat. In the corner up there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, see, I told you guys he's teaching, so he's super. He's gonna get here super late. So next time you come up here, but we're almost done. So hi, Yogi, how are you?
Hi. Welcome. So glad you're here. Let's hear your question.
I've probably seen each of you in different settings, and I just don't recall where. But I am new to this area. But my question is for each of you. I'm a child of the 70s, 80s, so I saw the birth of social media as well as some of its pitfalls. How do you get past that? And this is probably for everybody who's probably in my generation who's new to a lot of this. How do you get past trying to open up in an era where security is a question, and then you given so much of yourself in social media and trying to keep things personal, not trying to give everybody all of you at the same time, but wanting to express yourself to other people. How do you get past that and, I guess, make yourself useful in this new world?
Yeah, I can tackle that first if you guys don't
Yeah,
mind.
go for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So it's, there's obviously, the biggest problem with social media is there's people involved. Like I had a pastor that used to say, church sure would be easy if there just weren't any people, And the fact is anytime you get involved and there's people involved, you're going to run across people that are going to manipulate. You're going to run across people that are going to try to use a platform for personal gain, to try to hurt people, to try to lash out. And that's going to happen everywhere. Any social media platform, any VR platform, in the real world, that's all going to happen. Where it gets especially dangerous in here is how our brains process it. Yogi, as I'm walking up to you and we make eye contact and you're hearing my voice and you're seeing my facial expressions and my body language, your brain is processing it as if we're right in front of each other. So when I ignore that, and if I reach out and hurt you, man, it hurts. And, as far as like Terminator's famous question, the thing that's hardest for me in here is seeing people get hurt. It's horrible. And, that sucks. And so I like how you said, get through it. And how do you get through that? Because that's what it is. It's not going to be eliminated. It's none of that. We have to just get through that and have enough genuine connections that the balance comes and it overpowers some of the painful connections that we're going to make. So I hope that helps.
That's good.
It does.
Wow, that was fantastic.
Good. Yeah. So
Hell yeah.
So Yogi, for myself, I would say that it's right aligned with what you're saying there, Aaron. Like when we do, we work with broadcasters in radio, in the Christian radio industry, and one of the things that we teach in digital, I've been around since social media started, and I've seen how bad it's gotten. Right, we all know that. And one of the things that we teach, it's tough because we are in business, but when we coach these clients, we teach them, you have to remember that there's a real person on the other side of that computer. They're going through real stuff that you don't see. What you see on social media is a highlight reel of everybody's life. You don't see the real stuff. But in here, people are bringing that real stuff with them. You just don't see it. But what I've learned is through that relationship, the community, that people sharing and giving people a safe place to come. You guys have moderators. We have moderators too to kind of help control those areas. We want this to be a safe place at KillerB Studios too. But we want people to feel welcome to come and open up. We're Christians and everybody there knows that, but we don't hold that against anybody. Like we have people that come that are atheists, that's totally great. We want hey, we're all people and we all go through crap. Like I don't know if I can say crap. Can I say that?
You just did. You didn't get
I said it twice. I didn't get shot out of here. We all go through stuff.
What's that police one up there? Play that police one. It's actually funny. Play the police one.
Of the verbal morality statute has caused me to notify the Soapstone Police Department. Please remain where you are for your reprimand.
That's great.
We put that one in just for you, Killer.
Thank you.
Just for you.
We all go through stuff. And I think that's where it starts to open up, where people feel like it's a safe place for us to come and be vulnerable and be open. And that's what I love about bringing in the guests that we bring in is we had an artist, Lydia Laird, that came in, and she's an artist. And she talked about the pressure that she has from the industry to perform and have so much social media out and be this person that, that looks like this great star, but she goes through a lot. She has mental health issues that she goes through and struggles there. So she came and talked about that. And what it did was it showed everybody instead of everybody looking at her up here, they realized that we're all like right here. And then they felt safe to share things. And that's where I think it changes. It's just being real, but you're right. You have to be careful. But go ahead, Lolly.
I would say, obviously I agree with everything they said, but also being a person that was, clearly an adult before social media hit. I remember when my friends were all like, "Hey, you're not on Facebook." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know." Right. And they're like, "Well, you're going to get left out. We're planning stuff. We're doing stuff. You're missing out. We're not going to talk to you if you're not on Facebook." Joking. But they were kind of serious. I'm like, all right, well, I'll get a Facebook page. So what I would say to that, I personally think social media has a couple of different functions. We're not getting young people off of it. It's not happening. So we can all say, it's terrible, it's bad. There's nothing but bad information out there. Don't look at it. They're going to look at it. So my feeling is, what can I do? So first of all, as far as releasing your information, release and don't release whatever you want. I have friends who have their names spelled backwards on their Facebook page. They don't even want you to know their name, but we know who they are. They're my friends. But I also know see
the code. I can crack.
Now you know the code. Now you know the code. That's right. Yeah, I got a couple of those. But what I mean it to is I see so much negativity. There is all the sunshine. There's all the look. We're in the Bahamas and we're having so much fun. By the way, you guys, I'm gonna say something else off track here. When you see all those pictures, everybody like, look at we're all so happy. Most of those people, because I know some of them, that's all their life is a photo op. So they go somewhere. It's like, okay, everybody, come over here, take the pictures, yay! And then it's like everybody's mad and they go different way. It's an illusion. Yeah. It's totally illusion. But beyond that, I feel like with my social media, I want to say things and I want to be able to have a public way of doing it. And I use that, but I also really try to use it for the positive. For every one of those, the world's effed up and we're all doomed. I'm look at the pretty flowers and here's a cool insect. And you ever seen this before? Because I think you need to see some of that as you're scrolling.
That's good.
So I think that's my part. I try to put fun, laughing things in there and things that mean something to me. So do a little, do a lot, do whatever you want. But, are there bad people who might still find you? Sure. But they're going to find you through your ATM card or your, membership here. I mean, we're out there, guys. We're in the metaverse. I'm not just the metaverse, the universe, the internet. We're out there. We're in there. My ex-father-in-law used to go, I am never using my ATM card at a gas pump. No way am I doing that. I go, but do you use it when you go to the ATM or at the grocery store? Yeah. And I go, so what's the difference? Anyway. Yeah. That's my
answer. All right. Well, Lolly, this has been great.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been so fun, Aaron. It's been so fun. We're so glad you've been
here. Thank you for the invite to allow me to come in and co-host with you. This was super fun. Mr.KillerB, always great to hear your wisdom flow. Yeah.
It was great. It was a very good show, Cal. We miss you so much, but you'll be back. And everybody else, thanks for hanging with us so long. We appreciate you all. Have a wonderful day. Yeah. Next week, we're having Waffle Copters as our guest, who Elma's fainting. She's a fangirl. Yeah. She's a big fangirl. Waffle Copters, if you know him or don't know him, does a lot of puzzle worlds, which I find very intriguing. He's a really cool guy. So he's over here next week. So thanks you, everybody. Everybody have a great week.
Everybody's frozen in time here. Thanks for coming, Super Fat. Thanks, Lolly D. It was great hanging out with you. I'm just gonna go and say bye to everybody. Thanks, good soldier. Al, thanks for teaching and for joining us. Exterminator, you're awesome. I can't give you a high five right now, but thank you very much. Great time. Hey, purple tones. I know you can't see me, but if you feel anything on your shoulders, just know the KillerB said thanks.
So just happened, like everybody just froze. Like I'm still in this instance, I can still bring up their thing. Everybody just freaking froze. This is definitely going into blooper reel. Everybody's frozen. Oh, this is funny.
I love it. Hey, Lolly D. Gal, how you doing? Excellent. My man right here. It looks like. Soapstone guy, thank you for everything you're doing. And bro, thank you for all your help. You guys are doing awesome. Kimberly Ann is coined out. Thank you, Kim. Paloma, thank you again. Great meeting you. Aurora, thank you. Guys, have an awesome day. Thank you guys. Thank you guys all for having me at Soapstone Comedy Club for the Good Morning Soapstone. Thank you guys. Okay, Aaron. Sorry, man. I'll have to catch you later.